I released the video yesterday on the bucket blaster, and straight away we got some really good responses in the comments and a couple of handy tips as well. So let's just go through some of them. As well as taking a look at the tips, I've got a few other things that I want to put on the bucket blaster to get it clean. One is this jug. I've had some trubes sitting in that for a little while. I was going to collect the yeast, but never got around to it, and it just sat in the fridge for a while, so I'm counting that as unviable. So I've tipped that out, and now I'm going to just give this a clean. I've got two Fermzillas, one that had a porter in it, one that had a smash beer in it, and I'll put them onto the bucket blaster as well. And the reason I want to do this is because one of those Fermzillas has the Main Grove Jack's strong ale yeast in it, and I want to collect that strain and put a couple of slants in the fridge just so that I can use it again later. It's a really good yeast, and I really like what it did to the porter. It's the second time I've used it with that porter recipe, and it looks like it's going to come out just as well as the original did. Now let's get on to the tips first. JSAC666 tells me that I put the pump on the plate backwards, and that's why it was off center. I should have picked up on that, shouldn't I? But thanks, JSAC666. I've turned it around. I mean, it's not 100% on center, but that's near enough. And it's going to clean more evenly, although the results I got on the corny kegs was pretty impressive. Mark Pearson 2085 says, got the same kit, always had trouble with the pump after washing the first keg, then worked out to lift the pump out of the water to prime the air out of the system. I hadn't had that problem, but it's probably something worth keeping in mind if you ever do have that. Just try pulling the pump out of the water and then put it back. Innocent Bystander 2673 says, if you have Camlock silicon hose fittings, you can get a KL04503, which is the half-inch Type A male camlock to the female BSP. I do have some camlocks sitting around. I'm not sure exactly what I've got. Once I get these onto the bucket blaster, I'll go and have a look. But his tip is that if you've got those sorts of fittings, you can use it to run through your hoses and give your hoses a really good clean out too. So thanks for that. And Marcus Howell says, don't forget you can use these for Fermzillas as well. I've got two Fermzillas I'm going to try it out on today, Mark. There is another tip here, but that's to do with cleaning corny kegs. I don't have a corny keg that I need to be cleaned at the moment. I do have a couple that are about to be finished. So when they need to be cleaned, I might do another update and just show that tip as well. It's about positioning the corny keg so that it doesn't tilt off to the side. As you may be able to tell, it's early morning here on the farm. It's 6:39. I've been up since 5 o'clock feeding horses, putting out hay, cleaning up after them, if you know what I mean. Horses do make a lot of mess, and it does need to be cleaned up daily. So that's been my morning, and now it's time to get stuck into the brewery a bit before the farrier turns up at 7:30. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just lean on this, just in case the force of the water is enough to push the jug off. I don't want it to go flying off and then all of my water going everywhere. I'm glad I'm doing this outside because there is a bit of splashing. I could use the bigger bucket, but it's not too bad. We'll give that a couple of minutes and check back and see how it's done. That's dealt with that pretty well. There is a little bit of dirt on the outside. I just need to get a cloth onto that and give it a clean up. But it's done a really good job on the inside, so happy with that. Now the next thing to go on there is this Fermzilla. Now, I deliberately haven't taken the krausen off. I want to see how it deals with the krausen. Normally I would get in there with just a chucks cloth and wipe around in there just to lift most of the krausen off. But let's see how it goes. Let's see how it deals with it. So the Fermenter is designed obviously just to fit inside the ring. That's going to reduce a lot of the splashing that I had with the jug. I imagine this is going to take a bit longer than the jug, but that's okay. I'm just going to leave it here while I've got other things to do. I can see it's already taken a lot of that krausen off. So I'm just going to leave it here, go and do my chores, and then I'll come back when it looks like it's done and we'll see how it goes. After about 20 minutes, it's done a pretty decent job. It's done better than I probably thought it would. What it hasn't done is got that really caked in krausen off. I'm sure that if I left it in there for a while longer that it would get it, but the best thing to do is get a soft, damp cloth and just give it a wipe yourself. Yeah, that's on the outside. And now that you wiped it off, it'll do a much better job. So yeah, recommendation, krausen, wipe it off yourself first, and then let the bucket blaster do its job. So I'm just going to give it a few more minutes just to get where I was wiping the krausen off, just to make sure that all of that's cleaned up. So that's it, clean as a whistle on the inside. All I need to do now is give it a wipe on the outside and it'll be ready for the next batch. Now what did I do with all the bits and pieces off it? Well, they're sitting in the bucket as well. The floats that are notoriously hard to clean because they sit above water. If you put them in water, they sit above it. Because you've got all the water dripping down, it's cleaned the top of that float quite nicely. Dip tube. There's the lid. POV. One disconnect, or one post, two posts, and my pill. So I'm not going to put the lid on that because I want to dry it first. If you leave liquid in there, it goes all gunky and possibly mouldy. I don't want that. I want it to dry. I'll give these a bit of a chance to dry, and then it'll be set up for a batch on the weekend. That is a much more efficient way of cleaning the Fermenter. I'm impressed with that. If you found this informative, educational, or just entertaining, click on the subscribe button to support the channel, and click on the notification bell so you see when we get new videos coming out. And also click on that like button, because that tells YouTube that the content you've just seen is valuable and that it's worth showing to other people. Because it's 7 o'clock in the morning, I don't have a beer, but remember, enjoy the hobby, but drink responsibly. Cheers.